July 18th, we will witness the return of the drunken master himself, the Looney Tunes berserker Dricus du Plessis, former middleweight champion, funny man, making jokes about Sean Strickland's child abuse backstory. Welcome to MMA, folks. There's nothing off limits. Everything's fair game. So happy DDP is finally back in action after what feels like 3 years since he last fought, because watching him lose his title to Khamzat Chimaev, Captain Kill the Clock, who thought it was an RAF match and didn't even do a single ounce of damage. And DDP will absolutely be sending shots at his new opponent. No knees. Kamaru Usman, greatest welterweight of all time, according to Dana White, because he's somehow still a casual after being CEO for almost 30 years. Usman and Chimaev actually had a really close fight. Some greasy scorecards, some 10-8 round bullshit, but really, really close fight. Low volume, kind of hard to watch, but good look for Usman in all honesty. But Usman's being held up by toothpicks right now. Like, his body is destroyed from wrestling over the years, and I know he snuck off with like that Joaquin Buckley win. Like, Joaquin Buckley is not really a member of like the new elite welterweights. Like, Buckley is the runt of like the next generation of 170 killers. Buckley can't wrestle. Okay, he was ragdolled in Bellator as well. I know I picked him to beat Sean Brady. That's because Brady can't take a punch. Bilal Muhammad made him see God on the feet. Like, you can't predict this sport and like the durability of some people's chins. Look, I don't mind Usman. He's actually an underrated trash talker. I know his voice is sort of stuck on like telling a ghost story around a campfire mode, but he's one of the first people to shut up Colby Covington. That earns massive respect from me. He could have fumbled that, but no. Breaks Colby Covington's jaw, makes MMA history. He trains with Gaethje, and he's coached by the mad scientist, Trevor Whitman. Kamaru Usman is so far out of prime, it's not even funny. Leon Edwards was like raid boss difficulty for him. And look how easily Bilal manhandled Leon. Protest took his head off. Dricus has this in the bag, There's no way he gets out-wrestled for 25 minutes again. I refuse to believe it. Dricus by falling piano, Dricus by somehow, he will get the victory. The Nigerian Nightmare, folks. Not the most fitting nickname anymore, if we're being honest. Like Carlos Prates, Nightmare is fitting. He's out here like murking guys, shortening lifespans. Usman, you encroach forward gingerly, pop your jab a couple of times, and then just dive for a takedown. So, Nightmare my ass. Still a really good and competitive fight, but I think it's a good return fight for Dricus. Dricus he's packing too much girth in this matchup, okay? And MMA has been so depressing lately, like, Pereira loses, Topuria loses, our sweet little Horiguchi just got slept in the apex. My guy Caio Bahalio, captain of the Fighting Nerds, out with a fucking rib injury, dude. So please, MMA gods, do not let Kamaru Usman win and then rematch Sean Strickland in 2026, somehow win because Strickland's also pushing 40, retire double champion, claim he's the GOAT. What the fuck is happening? What is this evil plot that Usman's been cooking up? I hate this. So, Dricus, don't you dare fumble this. The future of the middleweight division hangs in the balance, my friend, okay? You defeating Kamaru Usman and knocking him out with your utter goofiness is the only thing that can wipe away all the bad shit that has happened in MMA over the past few weeks. Fun fight, though. Quality main event we have here. July 18th, Dirty Dana White kept this one secret from us for a long time. You're on thin ice, you absolute psychopath. So as always, like, comment, subscribe, and share for more UFC breakdowns, where we go stat by stat, and pretend like MMA isn't a coin flip sport half the time. The world is a fake gay mess, a chaotic circus, and combat is the only truth. So let's dive into Dricus du Plessis versus Kamaru Usman. We begin with accuracy of these two, and quite possibly the goofiest strikers in UFC history. Usman, famous for the infamous double punch. That really, rocked a nation, changed MMA forever. Dricus du Plessis' fight style cannot be described I'm at a loss for words when it comes to Dricus du Plessis' fight style. I go for Drunken Master. That rolls off the tongue quite well. But comment down below what you think Dricus du Plessis' fight style should be called. Dricus du Plessis invented the patented run and punch, and when Dricus entered the sport, we thought this guy would be nothing, because look at how he strikes, but there's a method to Dricus' madness. I'll put it that way. I'm giving the edge to Dricus. More chaos, more collisions. Marty Usman is tactical and precise with his punches, very sharp, like Dricus still has to be careful, but not a threat on the feet whatsoever in this matchup. He'll be using it to set up takedowns and nothing more. So I'm giving an accuracy edge to Dricus du Plessis, which I never would have said a couple years ago because he looks like he's blind out there, but there is a method to his madness. Now let's talk cardio and conditioning. Who has the better gas tank? Well, at the start of Dricus' career, it definitely looked like he was a first-round fighter. The optics were horrible. He was just gasping for air, looking like he needs an inhaler between rounds. But we come to discover that's because of, I think, a deviated septum or just a crushed nose, blocked airway that he had to get fixed. And now he still looks the same. But his cardio's good. It's a weird thing with Dricus. Mouth agape. Looks like he's about to pass out from exhaustion every fight, but just keeps on pushing, keeps on trucking. So average cardio, I think, is a safe bet for Dricus. This is quite a heavier weight class. Kamaru Usman will get the edge, though, and he's also he's intelligent with how he handles his gas tank. Like, he can survive an early scare from Khamzat Chimaev. Usman's never feared exchanges. He's never feared anything in a fight because he knows he's got that cardio base and the wrestling to, like, control his opponent, find opportunistic breaks in the action. So absolutely a cardio and conditioning edge goes to Kamaru Usman. Up next is the dodge statistic, and Dricus du Plessis is a certified punch magnet on this channel, and let me tell you why. Because Dricus du Plessis is one of these fighters where his offense is his defense. He's so forward heavy and reckless that he's never the one being hunted, and so when he is taking punishment, he just hides behind a big chunky high guard, and that's worked for him his whole career. But he still takes damage and makes mistakes, like Darren Till was sneaking in heavy punches, Israel Adesanya was lighting him up, and I know what you're going to say, these guys are far superior strikers than Usman. But that's consistent with Dricus' whole career, is taking damage and walking through it. We'll move on to the toughness stat later and give him praise, but as for dodge alone, he's horny for punishment. Usman, on the other hand, actually a really hard guy to outstrike. Seriously, like, he's very defensively responsible, that takedown threat is always there, and other than the massive fumble of Usman blocking Leon Edwards' head kick with his face, his dodge is fine. That's the only time he's been KO'd in like a 20-plus fight career, so nobody is yet to just walk through Usman and KO him. So we'll see how Dricus gets this done, but the edge in dodge goes to Kamaru Usman. Up next is fight IQ. High stat for both are former champions. I know Dricus du Plessis doesn't look the part in the fight IQ domain, attempting lateral drops and falling on his ass, using his own skull as a makeshift battering ram, but it works, okay? Don't question it. Just shut up and watch the fucking fights. Usman is a genius, and his coaches are geniuses. Trevor Whitman, Henry Hooft, some of the most well-respected coaches in MMA today. Those are like, we need to do like a coaches tier list really soon. There are some mastermind MMA coaches out there that definitely deserve some shine. So high fight IQ for both. Usman is highly regarded as one of the best welterweights in the entire world, whereas Dricus du Plessis has had a rapid rise, but I also think his gym is incredibly underrated out of South Africa. Up next is the grappling. Dricus du Plessis, I'm not really a fan, but then again, he has more submissions than KO victories. Dricus has 11 submissions on his professional record. Kind of insane when you think about it, because I don't herald him as this excellent, like, scrambler, roller with, like, a lot of BJJ intelligence. Like, he literally just tried to, like, tough man his way out of all of Khamzat Chimaev's, like, wrestling moves. Only hit one reversal in the entire 25-minute fight, was taken down constantly. That was a horrible look. Just couldn't swing the fight back in his momentum. Couldn't keep a top-tier grappler off of him in Khamzat Chimaev. So I don't really know how to feel about Dricus on the ground. Maybe Usman can take him down on repeat here. I pray to the MMA gods that doesn't happen, because then we have a serious problem with Dricus fluking his way to the top of the sport with no grappling or wrestling whatsoever, but I don't think that's the case. Usman will take the edge here in grappling because that is his bread and butter. Stalking you down to the cage, getting your back to the fence, throwing a caveman overhand, and shooting for a takedown down low. It's hideous. It's not fun to watch, but it works. He became one of the greatest champions in the UFC by doing this. I think the only problem with Kamaru Usman is that he sort of Bilal Muhammad maxes. He has a lot of good wrestling control and can always get it there with his opponent, but doesn't go for submissions. Literally neglects them in favor of control and ground and pound. So it's interesting. I was a big fan of Usman's Buckley performance. It really showed me a lot about Buckley and where Usman's at currently, because he was on a long layoff and he took down Buckley on repeat, landed actually really good ground and pound. Grappling advantage, obviously going Kamaru Usman's way. Up next, KO power, an element of the fight where I think Dricus du Plessis gets really misunderstood. Hear me out. Dricus du Plessis, like we said earlier, has more submissions on the record than KOs, has a type of power that breaks noses, causes cuts, discourages people, breaks them mentally, but doesn't actually KO them. It's a really weird power with Dricus, and I almost think that's a better type of power to have, opposed to the death touch, where it's like all or nothing. Dricus has what we call in the MMA YouTube community real thud, genetic power, okay? I don't know what's in the water over there in South Africa. As for Kamaru Usman, his 5-round beatdown of Colby Covington has the punch power of a featherweight, and always has, so got no respect in that matchup, really allowed Kamaru Usman to just walk him down, not fear exchanges whatsoever. This fight will have an entirely different dynamic because Dricus du Plessis weight cuts to 185. Colby Covington literally cut 0 weight, never set foot in a sauna. Usman is up against a giant compared to Colby Covington and some of his past opponents who were much smaller, like no joke, DDP is like double the size, double the man that Colby Covington will ever be. So really interesting statistic here in KO power where I've identified Dricus du Plessis is overrated in terms of knockout causing ability, but not in terms of inflicting raw damage, breaking bones, causing cuts. Very crafty read by me, if I might add. Kamaru Usman cannot be overlooked on the feet. He can hurt you, he can drop you. His punch mechanics are actually very, very underrated. At the end of the day, he's a wrestler, but I'm going to give both of them average KO power in this matchup against each other. And lastly, we have toughness. Dricus du Plessis takes the edge. His chin is a fucking anvil. I've only seen him dropped by Roberto Soldic, who is a Polish Giga Chad, built like a damn fridge, built like a damn ice cream truck. DDP might just be the most physically imposing fighter at middleweight right now. We know he cuts a lot of weight, absolute muscle dummy. This is where Usman has his hands full. I don't think he's ever fought a fighter this dense before. DDP is dense. Girth maxing. South Africans are built different. Usman, you are stepping into the cage with a mutant, okay? DDP, no joke, heavily relies on his chin, knows what he's packing. Pause. Usman is not tough. He's never had to really face the wrath of like a dangerous striker like this. Like Leon Edwards, no. Colby Covington, God, no. His little pillow punches. Burns dropped him. I know nobody remembers this. Gilbert Burns was pretty damn close to just ending Kamaru Usman's title reign it was in the apex, so no wonder no one remembers it. Usman is more, in my opinion, mentally tough, and I sort of factor that into fight IQ rather than the toughness stat itself, where we talk about like durability and chin, bone density, and I have to go Dricus. This man is a mutant, okay, and he knows it. So the final stat of toughness goes to Dricus du Plessis. As for the fight styles here, pretty self-explanatory. Kamaru Usman, a traditional wrestler, very well-rounded, former welterweight champion, one of the former GOATs, no doubt. Have to pay him respect here in this matchup, but also keep it real and identify that DDP is the biggest opponent that he will have ever had to face, the toughest, the buckest, the most plot armor by far. So we'll see how this one plays out. An Usman win means middleweight is dead forever, so I'm rooting DDP. I think he gets it done. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all real soon.